Morning, 6:30 in the morning, so we're starting bright and early today, but we have a lot to do today. This weekend we've got a ton of deliveries arriving, so we've got chairs arriving, garden furniture arriving, a mysterious package. It's just described as Blue Angel, and we have no idea what that one is. What else? I'm sure we have some other packages arriving too. It all gets a bit confusing, but just lots of bits of furniture and things that we've been trying to sort out for ages, and they've all happened to come at the same time, which is great if they turn up. Anyway, other projects, we've got some friends coming this weekend, so we've got to get a couple of rooms sorted out. We're also trying to finish the decorations on what will be the kind of like master suite. Otherwise I thought I'd just, Bo, come here, come on. Anyway, I thought I'd just talk a little bit about some of our roof projects, because we've also got the carpenter coming today. The carpenter, obviously in like France, they have like lots more specialist artisans rather than having tradespeople that do a wide variety of jobs. And so we've had like one visit from the carpenter, and then now we're trying to get kind of definitive price on how much the work would cost. But first of all, we've got kind of obviously the stables, where we need to take off all of the tiles, replace some bits of wood, and apparently he said there's only a couple, so it shouldn't be too bad or too expensive. And then we'll be felting and then replacing the tiles on the roof. We've got quite a lot of the sort of the main tiles, which is good because of the energy prices. The sort of furnace or the workshop that makes them is closed at the moment, so they are eye-wateringly expensive. What we don't have though are a lot of the kind of the cap or the sort of ridge tiles that go along the top, so we'll have to try and find some of those. I have no idea how we get one down to measure it to make sure we get the right size, but there's a chance we might have to sort of leave that until we've got the scaffolding up, and then just hope for the best that we can find something nearby. So yeah, we've been doing all of the planning for that project, which is going to be huge, but thankfully, like, at least the carpenter was saying like the wood wasn't too bad. At one point I was worried we'd have to replace like all of the carpentry, which would have been a nightmare. We've also got problems in the roof in the main building. So there's a piece of wood that sits at the bottom of the roof called a sablier. Yeah, the sablier is a wall plate, I think it's called in English. It's basically just a piece of wood that sits on top of the wall, and then the roof structure sits on top of that. But it's been attacked by woodworm. And last weekend we sprayed the sablier itself, but also we sprayed some other bits of the property where we'd found woodworm in other places too. I might even just put a little video in now of some of the stuff that we did last weekend. I'm just spraying all of these timbers because apparently there's some wood mites in here that were degrading the timbers. So. You
can see it, can't you, if you look carefully?
Yeah, it's pretty nasty stuff this though. So we're gonna saturate it with it, and then hopefully.
And you're looking very cool in your shades there. Do you want to talk us through that?
Thanks. So I couldn't find the protective eyebrow, but these will do the trick.
Just as a side note, that's one of our cloches, so hence the reason it's called Château Trois Cloches. So that is one cloche of 3. Anyway, I need to keep my distance because I haven't got a mask. As you can see, the wood's getting absolutely covered. And I'm guessing you probably kill the little buggers, which is a shame, but needs must. We've sprayed it and treated it. As you can see, like, some of the wood is quite badly rotten, so we ideally need to take those out. But the challenge here is that obviously if you have to lift up the roof to pull out the wood from underneath, then the gutters that run around the top of the roof, the seals and the water tightness will break, and then you'll get leaks, and then all of the problems we've had previously will resurface. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I have been really worried we'd need to use scaffolding, and scaffolding in France is painfully expensive. I think it was
I think we had a quote for like 20 grand or something for the stables, but we found out, and the carpenter told me, that because there's these hooks on the side of the building, they can actually use this little kind of scaffolding turret that just hangs off the hooks, which is genius. So hopefully that should save us a bit of money. But I don't know how much that's going to cost and whether we'll be able to afford that this year. We've sort of already sprayed it, and hopefully that will be enough for the next winter. But I think kind of we might need to wait until we've earned been attacked by spiders. I might need to wait until we've earned a little bit of money before we can actually crack on with that roof project. It's just really hard to know what to prioritize. They always say like the roof is one of the most important things, but the main thing is that it's watertight. So, and I think mostly it is at the moment. We also need him to fix some sort of wooden beams up in the bell tower. There's some that are kind of quite badly rotten. And also there's kind of a lot of water that sits on top of that little platform up at the top. So I'm hoping that they might be able to sort of take off all of the flooring, put down a kind of a sloped floor that sort of runs the water off, and then kind of cover it with the waterproof stuff. But yeah, we will be getting quotes for that, and I doubt they'll be small. So I'm sort of bracing myself for the impact. Right, another project I thought I'd update on is replacement of our FOSS septic. So at the moment we have, behind this massive pile of rubble, which we're hoping we'll get rid of a little bit of today, over there is our FOSS septic, which is basically a tank for all of the poos and the wees of the house. Not very nice, and it has to be pumped out every year, and they're not compliant with the law anymore in France. So now what you have to have a kind of an initial tank which sort of separates and lets the sort of waste decompose, and then it kind of goes into another tank where I guess there's more decomposing, and the sort of process, I think, basically kind of cleans it and turns it into water. But then it goes through into a kind of a filtration bed, and then it kind of has things like carbon in and stuff like that, which just sort of removes any other impurities before it just sort of escapes into the landscape. And so our kind of specialist guy has told us, like, ideally we want to have this in the middle of the garden, but because it slopes down, there's a bit of a kind of a scoop in the middle of the garden, we couldn't put it there. But we've had a solution, which is what we'll be doing is where that plant is in the background, that sort of enormous bush which Chris has had a go at trying to cut away, but it's so big, it's going to be a big project just cutting down that whatever it is. Someone will correct me. It's got pretty flowers, but it's going. Yeah, we'll be cutting that back, and what we'll do is we'll dig out from where that plant currently is, and we'll create a natural pond, which hopefully, by kind of getting the balance right of sort of the right plants in a certain bedding area, you can actually make it so you have really crystal clear water which you could actually swim in. That's the idea anyway. But we'll use all of the earth from there, and also some of the earth that will be coming out from where the septic tank is, to raise the level of the garden in the middle. And then we'll have a sort of a much flatter garden, and then if you have this sort of runoff going right down the middle of the garden, then it'll hopefully then spread from side to side. And it has the added benefit, by having a really long thin runaway, if we then put a septic tank in the stables, because we want to sort of turn it into gîtes, we can just connect that up to the runoff at the other end, which will save us a lot of money and digging when we get around to that project. Anyway, I will keep you posted and send you some videos of the work that we'll be doing today, which will mainly be doing that room. And look who's up there. So we have just had the mysterious delivery from Blue Angel. Let me show you what we've got. It's not to everyone's taste, but I don't know, I'm pretty happy with it. So here it is. It's a huge box. I think it's, oh God, who knows where it's come from. It feels like it's been all around the world. But in here we have what's going to be a fabulous bed when it's finished. Anyway, I won't spoil the surprise. I'll wait until we've put the thing together in whatever room it's going to go to before you can see the full effect, but I think it's going to be pretty amazing.